All right. Hello, everybody. We are back here again with another SBYMcast. This is episode 4. And here today we have the very mysterious, elusive, and, one known to many as John, Coach John, Teacher John, Tech Guy John, Retreat Leader John, TED Talker John, Motivational Speech John. Is he a student, John? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got here with us today John Vu. Hello, John. How are you?
Hello, I am John Vu.
It's definitely nice to have you, John. Again, I just want to say a big thank you to agreeing to come out and do not really come out, but stay in and do the podcast with us.
No problem. Thanks to all you guys for holding all this stuff for SBYM. I think it's really good. All the things that you're trying to do for all the youth, back at church as well as, during this time and everything. Love the energy and everything that you guys are doing. So thanks to you guys too.
Yeah, definitely with youth ministry, this is an idea that it actually came about kind of suddenly. It wasn't one that we had been thinking about for a long while. You've kind of seen how things work in youth ministry, and you know that we tend to take a more of a slower approach to things. And this one actually went from conception of idea to less than a week. Literally 3-4 days later, we're recording the first episode. That's how fast it was.
Yeah, I saw the first one with you and Brian too. I think it's really cool, but hey, there's times we're in and lots of fun here.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So kind of to get a little into what the podcast will be about, obviously, as all of you guys know, or if you've been listening or watching our podcast, you know that during our podcast we try to talk about mainly the guest is the main point of our episode each time. And tonight, I just want to start off by letting you guys know, in case you haven't, that John is someone who I met in high school, and I've known John since high school. John's gone from being a very an adult figure to coach to someone I looked up to someone who I've worked with, someone who now I consider one of my honestly one of my greatest friends. And I'm pretty sure John also considers me a good friend too. At least I'd like to think. But it didn't really start off like that. Actually, the first time I met John, it's a bit of a funny story, because I actually went to La Quinta, and as many of you guys know, John, he coaches at La Quinta, he coaches swim. And this was my first day of me joining the swim team. And, I was going out to practice. I'm at the pool deck, and I see this one kid. He's standing there, kind of, everyone else is sitting on these bleachers that are looking a little sad. But, I see this kid just standing in the middle of the pool deck with his backpack looking pretty full. I'm just oh, okay. So he's one of those kids. He's got a clipboard out. So, he's one of those kids, that is very on top of his things. He's probably got one of those folders that zips, one of those binders. And I go up to him and ask him, hey, do you know what time the coach is showing up, or when's practice starting? I don't see anyone. And he kind of just tells me, I'm actually, that's me. And I tell him, good one, buddy. Good one, dude. So where's the coach? It's my first time in swim, so I'd like to get to meet the coach. And it's I am the coach. I was okay, you're pretty funny, huh? And, obviously, kind of John takes out his whistle. I'm dang, this guy's got a whistle too? How badly does he is he team captain or something? And then he blows his whistle, and he asks everyone to, get ready because we're going to start practice. Obviously everyone gathered around, and I'm just whoa, okay, all right. Obviously he might be team captain. Duh. Okay. Because I see some of the older students also just, crowding around him and listening to what he has to say. And then it's not until he tells us to go change that I realize, shoot, this guy's actually the coach. Dude. So yeah, that was the first time meeting you, John. And I don't know if you can remember very well.
I saw that day. This kid, El Salvador, whatever, comes up. It's like, yeah, good one, buddy. You're the coach. Sure. I'm like, yeah, dude. It's like, how many push-ups did you do that day?
Time, that's something I'd like to forget, you know.
Oh man, the level of disrespect I have never seen in my life from this kid right here.
But I mean, I was an okay swimmer at least.
That's what we would like to think for now. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Let's just leave the memories as good ones, you know.
Of course.
Oh man. All right, but you know, I even to this day, I still, you know, think that joining swim was probably one of the better things that I decided to do during high school. And, you know, part of that was thanks to you, John. So, you know, thanks for that, bro.
No, it was definitely a lot of good times, fun times.
Yeah. All right. But now kind of just segueing into a little more the podcast, which is obviously going to be a little more focused on you, John. So one of the things that I first wanted to ask you and talk about was you're known by so many, yet not very many people know a lot about you, John. So let's just kind of ask you to share with us a little bit more about you, okay? It's completely up to you how much you want to share, but just kind of tell us what's your story with St. Barbara. Let's just start there, you know. St. Barbara, you know, obviously you've been here for a long time, and you know exactly how long, none of us know, don't think we'll ever know. But, you know, just kind of tell us about what it's been like, you know.
Yeah, so, you know, when I first came to St. Barbara, it was just like a patch of land, and I think there was a farm on the side with some chickens, and they were just building the foundations of, no, I'm kidding. No, honestly, when I started, that bell tower that was in the front, that wasn't built until actually more recently, so I can actually tell you bell tower was being built. That wasn't there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Gives a good reference point.
Yeah, but if you guys know me, I don't usually like to talk about myself. So, you know, things like this is kind of strange. But I've been to St. Barbara probably since, let me see, probably when I was around 8 years old, maybe. I'd say 8, 9 years old. And I started there mostly just going to mass and going to Yali, which is the program for catechism, you know, the Bible study that, you know, we went to on Saturdays pretty much. And it was just normal, you know.
It's the program is mainly for like First Communion, right?
Yeah, for First Communion. So I think I started the year before First Communion. So around there, maybe around first, second grade, around there, maybe.
So like pre-First Communion?
Yeah, so I know First Communion wasn't my first year. I think that was my second year.
Okay.
I think I received communion in my third grade year or so. So first, second grade, somewhere around there.
Okay. I mean, like after post Yao Li, kind of like what? Did you continue going to St. Barbara? Like just has St. Barbara just been regularly your church, your home parish, would you say?
Not always my home parish because, you know, at that time I go to church, go to mass with my parents where it was convenient. And a lot of time that was St. Barbara. But, you know, as I moved around, you know, I went to St. Columban or, you know, as the other churches nearby grew up, or I moved to other ones up and around. But more or less, I think St. Barbara's been my home parish that we ended up going to more of the time. And that's where I went to all my Bible classes. And ever since I started, it was like a weekly thing where, you know, every week we got to go to Bible class. You know, I feel like, you know, probably just the same as a lot of people, you know, parents like, oh, it's time again, Saturday, get in the car, you know, grab your books. I'm like, oh man, again.
Grab your books. All right, open the door, get out. See you in about 2 hours.
Yep, and you would pretend to be sick or something, so you don't have to get in the car. And, oh yeah, definitely remember all that.
Oh man. Okay. Did you also do confirmation here at St. Barbara?
Yeah, I did too. So that was just a continuation. It felt like for me, you know, because the Bible classes for me, even after communion, we kept parents made us keep on going all the way through 8th grade, and then 9th grade was confirmation 1 and then confirmation 2. A little more fun because that's when you start to see a lot more friends. You know, it just kind of switched from Saturdays when we used to go to Tuesday nights or whatever it used to be that I used to go to back then. So yeah, I continued to confirmation all the way through St. Barbara. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I mean, what about like volunteering wise? It wasn't until what like age would you? What age? Wasn't until what age, John, did you actually start to not go to St. Barbara so much for like the faith formation program, but to start volunteering or helping with their programs?
Oh, not till a lot later. Well,
really?
there wasn't as much going on back then, to be honest, as there is right now. You know, you guys have the youth ministry, which is really awesome, and things like that. You know, back then I just kind of went through all the classes because I had to at that time. No, I think I helped with like maybe one retreat because I think it was like, you know, like a confirmation requirement or whatever. You had to help with something.
Oh, what?
You know, yeah, one of the, I think you're doing that too. But once in a while, I'd help for something because you kind of had to. Didn't do a lot of volunteering, really. Yeah.
I mean, the retreats, I'm guessing they also used to be at the parish at a certain point.
No, I was before. I was one of the last retreats. Well, I think I helped with like a communion retreat or something like that at the parish, or one or two like little events like that. We had our first and second communion away. Confirmation retreats away from the parish. We did a weekend thing like they're doing a lot right now. Yeah, it was a 1-day retreat at another church or something for confirmation 1 and confirmation 2. A lot like what we're doing like right now. It was after my years that they started going back to the church and then back away again and stuff like that. There was a youth ministry back then, actually, the first version that I'm not sure you know about too much, Carlos, or not a lot of our viewers know about.
No, anything previous to Chris, you know, youth ministry, Chris's version of youth ministry is to me unknown. I didn't even know there was youth ministry before Chris. It was my impression that Chris kind of like started the youth ministry from scratch there. Apparently that's not
kind of right. Yeah. So there was a youth ministry when I was there. So her name was Diane that led it. Nice lady there, and she did the retreats and stuff like that too. So all you older people around here my age, you guys will remember. But it wasn't anything like it was today. It wasn't very large for sure, at least. I went to like one meeting maybe or two because a friend dragged me, and I think it was after the 5:30 mass on Sunday, and I didn't usually go to the 5:30 mass, so I went to that mass, and then
that is now like, you know, youth mass.
Yeah, and it was actually youth mass back then too.
It was still,
you know, it was a lot smaller, not really. Yeah, just for a few years when they had the youth ministry, the youth mass. I did like try it out once or twice, but it was in. I think it's actually the same as what the youth room is right now, but it was a lot smaller. It wasn't like what it is right now. There was only like 10 people. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
It was like a little 10 people, and then like I knew most of them, but I just didn't really feel the vibe, or I wasn't really feeling it. It was a different group of people, so I'm like, no, I'm good. So it was a lot smaller. It was a lot different. Not so many events, not so many like big things with everyone involved with youth nights and all this cool stuff that you guys are doing. So I kind of wish, I might have been more involved if there was stuff like this around back then, but not so much back then.
Okay. I mean, for all I know, if you had continued, you might just be youth minister right now, John. Who knows how that might have gone.
Who knows? And then it did kind of die down for a long time, especially when Diane left, and then Chris basically restarted it. And when he restarted, it was basically from scratch. Getting the core team and what you're doing. So that is kind of right. He did kind of start it or restart it, but there was one back in the days, even before me. There might have been a different version, but what it is like right now is mostly between Chris and you and a couple other people who voted up. So keep it up.
Some of those who have now gone past already, or some of those who have just passed on already. Not on this earth, but just
continue praying for them.
Passed on from our youth ministry, and we continue praying for them.
So I actually so I was kind of involved, but I wasn't too involved in church. Kind of I was a little bit more involved in TONE, the Vietnamese Eucharistic Youth, that I was a little bit more part of.
That's actually something that I was wondering a bit. I do know that, was it, I can't remember, not feeling too skilled in my maths right now. So what was help me with some quick maths here, John. TUNY celebrated their 25th anniversary, or at St. Barbara?
40th anniversary.
40th. Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
2 years ago it was 40th.
So that's even longer. Okay, so 2 years ago they celebrated their 40th. So then TUNY's been there for quite a while at St. Barbara. Dang. Okay. So I was gonna ask you, like how long have you been in TUNY?
But yes, for all 40 years. No. I was actually joined much during the later part of it.
Okay.
I've been on there for a while. I actually didn't join until I was about 10 years old or so, I believe.
Okay, yeah,
it was actually a little bit later from a lot of my other friends. A lot of my friends were in there for 4 or 5 years, and they tried to get me to join every single year. And I told them, more time at church? You get to go out and hang out at church. Sure, let me get back. Nope. So I didn't join for quite a bit longer until I was a little bit older, actually.
It's one of those where, people kind of tell you like, hey, you want to hang out at church, or you want to come do this like fun group activity at church? And you're just kind of like, wait, hold on, like those two words shouldn't be in the same sentence, like fun church, it should be more like prayer church. Hey, you want to come pray with me at church? It's not typically,
No.
Those two.
It was just slow to me at that point when I was that younger. It was just like, all right, I'm already getting in the car and spending an hour and a half in my Bible class here on Saturday, and you want me to stay another hour after? Just no, you all stay. I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna head home, take a nap.
Yeah. I mean, it's not so much that's not exactly why I didn't like church, but when you're young, it's like, I mean, not saying that I'm all that old, but a few years ago, I definitely didn't see church as like the kind of place that I went to because I enjoyed it there. It was.
I exactly the same with me. But it was because of that. My friends, like literally, every single week, different friend or the same group of friends are like, yeah, we get to do this and this. We get to have parties and we go camping and we have all this stuff fun. And like literally, like every single day, every single week, told me different things. So eventually, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And part of that is I did end up actually having a lot more fun. And that's how I got to meet a lot of the people I did or build the experiences I did. And I think that's part of what's kind of kept me going for all these years. So, and then going back to earlier, and that's when I started volunteering, actually was my senior year in high school was when they asked us to, if with the Vietnamese group at least, to start being volunteers and teachers and not just students. So I had to think about it a little bit, and then like, okay, I'll give it a try. Kind of.
That was with Yali, right?
No, with TUNY. I didn't help out. I didn't help out with the catechism classes, the Bible classes at all, really, or confirmation. It was through the Vietnamese Eucharistic Youth that, they asked me to kind of come back and be a teacher first, my senior year of high school. So then I was like, okay, it's something I can probably do. And,
So that was with TUNY, right? Then that was the TUNY you were helping. Okay. So does that mean you were already a red con by then?
No, back then we actually had something we don't have right now, which is pink, which is way back there. Yeah.
It's actually something I've heard of because now that I've joined TUNY and I'm actually in the program and I'm there, listening to all of the lessons, and I'm there seeing the kids and everything. I start hearing more about sort of like the history of TUNY and some of the history of the people there, the people at St. Barbara, and sort of their story with TUNY. And that's one of the things that I heard about, like pink cons, which the pink scarves. I was like, wait, what the heck? Like, when was that? Or that sounds kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like, what happened to them?
It's just basically what you did. You've got on right now, Carlos. So you would be where I was when I was a senior, and freshman in college, right there. It's basically the same, but it's just kind of shifted and changed to match the rest of the world, or changes. It was 2009 that they changed from pink to basically brown right now. So
okay,
just to standardize it a little bit more.
Okay. That would have been cool if we would have kept pink, but whatever.
Pink was fun.
So essentially since your senior year of high school, have you like consistently been essentially you've been a consistent help at church or a consistent volunteer at church?
No, not too much too. Senior year, I started out and I put a lot of energy in, this is going to be my volunteer thing. I'm going to earn my red or whatever, actually earn my pink at that time and stuff like that. When I went to college, I went to college a little bit further, so I wasn't home every weekend at St. Barbara's. So I kind of floated around a little bit, didn't come every week. Started going to a couple of different other parishes too and things like that. So I wasn't consistent,
And at those other parishes, were you just, attending mass, or were you also, just kind of delving a bit into their different volunteer groups?
A lot. Some of churches I would just go to mass at, or just whatever it was right then. A couple other ones I was actually helped out another parish besides St. Barbara for a little while before coming back to St. Barbara too.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I mean, like I was kind of saying, before, that I personally think that I've known you for a decent while, a few years now, but even then I'm still this podcast, I'm still learning about you myself too, so that's why it's pretty interesting, and I'm guessing the people that know you even less than I do are also enjoying the fact that we do get to know a little more about the mystery behind.
There are people who know me better than you that didn't know about some of that stuff right now.
Oh,
or known me much longer.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some good stuff already. All right. I mean, so then, obviously you started at sort of that senior age, right, where you began volunteering. What about with like volunteering at school? How did you get into the sort of like coaching side? Because that's also
coaching?
Something that
this one I'll tell you right now, pretty much nobody knows, is I started coaching when I was also 18 or 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dang. So you've been coaching for a good while.
Yeah, since I was 18, so it's been like a solid 2.5 years,
Obviously, duh. Yeah, I mean, what's it been? Negative 3 years? Basically a sophomore. I mean, okay, that would explain why there was definitely because I don't know about you, but obviously we had some different coaches in swim when I was on the team, and there's definitely I guess there's definitely a difference from when I had coaching with you and when I had coaching with some of the other coaches. I mean, they're great people, but I don't know, coaching is kind of like a different. It takes a different kind of personality, because even at my job, I work with a teacher, an EOD teacher, who is a coach for track. And I'll tell you, he's a great coach. I can, just from working with him, I get that feeling. But a teacher, he's not so much. Okay.
I know who you're talking about. No name.
Yeah. And honestly, I used to think till this point that you couldn't, or it was difficult and very rare for you to be a good coach and a good teacher, because oftentimes coaching skills don't always translate into teaching skills, but they are similar. But I have to say that there's a difference between the two. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that coaching and teaching are very similar?
There's a lot of skills that overlap, and honestly, I think that's part of what makes me who I am. Is that I don't try to be different in different parts of my life. I when I'm pushing kids tough, to kind of go harder. It's a little bit different, but I try to be the same person from what I've learned from being a Catholic to what I've learned as being a teacher to how I teach kids on the pool deck and off. It's about caring for the person first and about how they're going to grow as a person and always challenging them to become better. And to me, honestly, it's about learning what you want to teach first or what you're trying to come across, besides just, hey, I'm going to try to get you faster and we're going to try to win. That's that's when I was 19, but after that, it becomes so much more about the person. And then you kind of develop on what you're trying to really help young kids kind of come across and grow and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, some of it might have helped that I started so when I was young, but I'll tell you right now, like I never ever thought that I would be a coach when I was in high school or even when I was 18 or 19. A lot of these things just kind of happened. And,
Yeah, I mean, that's actually one of the things that I very much agree. Sometimes things really just like they just kind of get dropped into your life, and you just kind of like, okay, let me try to process this one real quick. All right, let's go with it. Let's run with it. And
I actually started coaching water polo first, and when I was still 18 at the time, and coaching high school. Yeah.
Wait, so you were coaching a high school team, or what were you coaching?
Still at LQ. Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure you're gonna ask, or other people want to know the story now. Is what happened was, after I graduated, off to college a year, that summer, a little bit before summer break came in, I had a couple of my old teammates actually call me and said, "Hey, our coach is not coming back for next year. So as of right now, we don't have a summer league. We don't have anything going on for next year. So we would really like you to coach us." And these were the people that were on my team as my teammates. I'm a year out of high school, so it was actually a couple of the old freshmen that called me. And I'm like, no, like I don't know anything. How am I going to coach you? I'm just like, and I never thought about coming back at all. But then that person called me like every single day for a week. And then it wasn't just that person. Some other people started calling me too. And, kind of jumping on that. I'm like, oh man, this is going to suck. But then I'm like,
do I got to change phone numbers or like what's going on?
No, yeah. So people just kept on really like just starting begging me to come out. It's like, we're not gonna have this anything for summer unless it's you come, And I'm like, okay, I'll try, And after that, and this word started going around that like, I was thinking about it, and then a lot of my other old teammates were like, yes, I want you to come and be our coach. And other people were like, what do you need? You need me to talk to like the teachers, the principal, the AD, like we'll put in like whatever you need, like, things like that, So I'm like, okay, if all these people like are like really trying that hard, then I'll do it, I talked to the AD and principal who I already knew from my time and they already, had a good relationship with. So they were like, okay, like, imagine 18-year-olds and you're like, okay, we'll take you, So it was good that, they already knew what I was about from when I was in high school and they took me, and I started right then and I wasn't, I didn't go all those years straight, I was kind of on and off, but that's kind of how I got started with the program. And I came back later afterwards. I'm like, okay, it's just a lot of fun. I'll keep it up.
Dude, what? That's actually, man, like, I won't lie to you, that definitely, like, I see a lot, sort of like, I see a lot of similarities. Like, I can definitely relate with your story, with the story of how I became youth minister too. Just like, just literally, I'm 19, gonna turn 20 very soon, and they're just kind of like, hey, we our youth minister is leaving. Obviously Chris left, and now we don't really have anyone, and we need someone because Sister Grace is leaving, and if Sister Grace leaves, who knows if the program will continue? Because it's not like it's an important program. Sure, it's one that we like having, and it's considered a non-essential program, but so we really kind of need you to take this job, or else we don't know if it'll continue. And I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, can I say no? No.
No, you cannot.
Yes.
I don't even know if I don't remember. I've told you or not, but I was actually a part of that back then too. Sister Grace and Sister Lou and a couple of people asked me quite a few times, like, hey, so we need a new youth minister. Who should it, like, you got any ideas? I'll be honest, Carlos, like, the first time, like, I was like, Carlos, you should ask Carlos. At the time they were like, no, he's like, we like him, and like, we kind of like, that's what we want too, but he's a little young right now. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I understand that. And then, a couple months later, we needed a new youth minister again,
Oh,
so
we
like,
really needed one.
Yeah. I'm like, Carlos. So.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Because oh man, that time was so rough. It was just really rough, because we got one, we lost one, we got another one, we lost another one, and now we're just like, what do we do? But yeah, I didn't actually know that you're one of the people that kind of put in the word for me there. I definitely heard about it later when Sister Grace was like, I asked people. I asked around, and a lot of the answers I heard was Carlos. So I was like, okay, I guess we'll go with Carlos.
No, it wasn't just me. I'm just saying, like a lot of us, like, we really believe in you guys and what you're about, and we believe and support you too, Carlos. And I think just between both of our stories, like, I don't think when you started Confirmation as well, you ever thought you'd be youth minister, right?
Yeah, and I don't think you ever really started college or your first year of college and figured, hey, I think in about a year I'm gonna take up coaching. Yeah.
No, and it just comes to show me that's one of the things I learned is things happen unexpectedly, and they kind of help build you as you are, and life doesn't go where you think it does, and other things are if you really want something to happen, you work at it and try, and I never would have done it if my friends hadn't called me up and begged me for a couple weeks straight. And I'm pretty sure for you too, a lot of people, you didn't see as much in yourself as other people did. So for all the young people out there, if we want something to happen, then you make it happen, or you kind of listen to where God leads you to.
I mean, it wasn't really until I obviously became youth minister, started getting more into my own faith, and really learning more about it, practicing it more often, getting to know what worked with me. Because I mean, that's one of the things I've learned. Not everything works for everyone when it comes to our faith. A lot of the things like what do you call it? Meditation is one that, oh man, it works wonders for people. But for me, I'm just kind of like, I can't like stay quiet. Like, people tell you, like, just kind of try to let your mind go blank, just picture white, just nothingness. And I'm just kind of like, but all I can picture right now is like me picturing nothing. It's like, I don't know, that's one of the things that definitely I've learned. And one of my favorite quotes really that comes along with, like, just figuring out the path that I decided to take, or the path that I wanted to take. Because obviously you don't know what you don't know is the kind of thing that I'm trying to get at. And initially I didn't know. I had no idea of everything that I didn't know about. I had no idea of what there was to know about. Especially one with my faith, with being youth minister, and with just leading others. And it was very, very interesting, because people expected things of me, but I didn't know what was expected, what was being expected of me. That's one of the biggest things. So I mean, just real quickly to get to the quote, it's God doesn't choose the prepared, he prepares the chosen. And I think that rings very true. Close enough. But I think that's one of the things that rings very true with both your story and my story, how we kind of got into this how would I put it? We both got into helping young people, because that's really what it comes down to a lot. Like, the reason why I'm here is not because I want. The reason why I'm youth minister is not because I want to be a better Catholic. I could do that without being youth minister. It's more specifically because I want to help young people. And I'd like to know a bit more about you. Like, what was the reason that you decided to help young people? Why is it that you devote so much of your time to helping young people?
Well, how I got started, like I said, was through the Vietnamese youth group, and I was just kind of asked to be a leader. And at the time, it was more of like, hey, it's just what we're doing with all our friends right now. Everyone's doing it. It's going to be fun. And it was a lot of fun, just kind of hanging out at that capacity with all your friends. But, going on right now and how much more I've developed is, because well, I like it. It brings me joy, just really seeing and interacting with young people and helping through it. I think it's something that brings me energy, just meeting young kids and listening to their stories and helping them any way we can. That's a large part of it. Large part of it, like you said, or I always think it's like there's just so many different people around, and everyone has their own story. And I really love, getting to be a part of all these people and their stories and helping them in every way I can. Because there's so many things that you learn about people and yourselves and from every single person you meet. It's great.
Yeah, I definitely. I know what you mean by that. And another thing is that also whenever you meet someone, especially someone who's young, and you kind of see their development, you see them grow as both like as a Catholic, as a person, as a leader. I don't know. It brings a sense of happiness that is like it's not so much a happiness that is like oh man, I'm proud that I did that. It's more of like I'm proud that I was able to be a part of that.
I like 100%. Yeah.
And it's like,
and I tell my kids and students all the time. Yeah. And it's not about yourself. It's just really, I was like, I'm so happy to have been part of your journey and
exactly.
Like, to be able to witness that firsthand, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, Carlos is the perfect example here because you guys know, I met him on the swim team, but I remember seeing him I was actually your teacher, your first day of confirmation, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure, but I definitely. You might have actually been because
you were. You were your sister in my class. I remember that.
Yeah. They shuffled us around. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the first day I was a sub for a class or something like that, and I remember I had you, and I'm like, "What? You go to church?"
It's like, dude, you're here too. Like, come on.
No, but I had a lot of fun, and seeing Carlos grow up, from like the stupid kid I met on the pool deck, seeing him at church and going through his retreats and helping youth ministry after, and then becoming youth minister after that, and and it's not so much of like I'm proud of myself because I know it's not me, it's Carlos's journey, but I'm just so glad to have been a part to have watched that, and I love it.
And it's definitely one of the things that. It's like if there's anything that like people always ask, it's like how can you stand those kids? It's like it's the time in their life when they're most like rowdy and they don't know what to do. They don't know what they want. They don't know who they are. Sometimes they don't really know that much about themselves or the people around them. They're kind of just in it in the moment, and it's kind of like I think that this job this willingness to help them, I think is important because they need it, and not only do they need it, it's doing the action is self-rewarding. Because again, it's not because you're doing it because I want this one specific kid to have a good time. It's more like I want to help at least one kid. I want to make an impact in at least one kid's experience. I want to be for them that one person. I want to be for them the John. John helped me. For example, let's just say John was there. John was a very helpful figure in my confirmation, catechism, whatever experience. I want to be that person for at least one kid.
And same exactly too. No, it's just like all the years of teaching and stuff. Like just example, my the last day of confirmation class that we had, before everything was canceled rudely. But even so, on that day, it was just I decided to have like one-on-one conversations with one of my students, and I had a really, really good conversation with one of my kids, and one that was like kind of needed right there on that day specifically, and it just everything kind of like like, as I really needed to have that talk with her that day. She was going through a really, really tough time, like specifically that day, and things like it just worked out because like I wasn't even like, somebody was supposed to sub my class that day and I was supposed to be with my class, and it ended up working out right then. And we got time, and then all of a sudden I just decided to talk with her, things like that.
Yeah.
But like even just that one conversation I had for 10 minutes with that one student, I think it was worth it. Like all these years that I've been teaching, it was just like I remember at one time I got to talk to one kid, and if I was able to that was the only thing I was ever able to achieve, I'd be happy.
Yeah, like I'll be honest right here. Like I've actually like cried when a student told me just how much it meant to them, something I did that I personally didn't think it was, that big a deal, like.
Oh yeah, and I've had plenty of those too, where I had students where like I feel like I barely even got a chance to know them or talk to them, or I didn't even remember what I said, and they came back and said something to me years later. I was like, wow, like
like they like
amazing.
Like, they just say like, oh yeah, that meant so much. You did that or whatever, and I'm just kind of like, dude, like I don't even remember like what I did in the moment. Like I was just trying to help out, trying to look out for whatever, and it's those moments really the ones where like you don't even realize the power that you have to make someone else's life just a little better, even if it's for that one moment. And,
definitely.
And that's exactly what I kind of go back to when people ask me like, how can you stand these kids, and it's those moments, those moments are the ones that really kind of like pay back in full. And then some, all the moments that you're like pulling out your hair, like, why do these kids do these kind of things,
Yeah, for sure. And part of like what you're getting back to, that's another part of a reason how I can stand the kids or why I do what I do is I remember what it was like to be a kid.
Yeah.
I think a lot of adults kind of forget like what it's to be on their side, but I remember being a kid. And I remember, a year and a half ago when I was in confirmation, the thousands of years ago I was in the confirmation program. No, I remember what it was like to be a confirmation kid and not like wanting to go to, class every day. Or, I remember growing up and not having the greatest relationship with my parents or my teachers or goofing off in class or whatever it is, And so I get it where a lot of kids are coming from. And, and part of what I do is like, I want to help them in a way that I was not able to get help when I was younger, or, the things that I struggled with, and I wish somebody was able to help me. I want to be able to do that for some other people. And on the reverse side, some of the good role models I did have, or some of the things that I'm more blessed to have had growing up than some other students did. I want to be able to share that, or, it kind of extend that hand or help wherever I can. That's really all it is.
That's very true indeed, and I mean that's a lot of that is because like I want to return the favor, give that same helping hand. A lot of that is kind of like the reason why I even chose my career path to just youth minister and trying to become a teacher and all that. But another thing kind of wanted to talk to you about, John, was like right now that we are all just confined to our houses, our homes, our rooms, our computer screens, what has your faith kind of been like in the recent present, just because I know definitely I'm asking you because obviously each person experiences faith in a slightly different way, I think like we were saying, not every aspect of, I guess, the practice of faith also, works the same way in everyone. So that's why I kind of wanted to ask, how's kind of like how have you been what have you been doing, John, to kind of help keep your faith on like on how would I say it, on a good track, I guess?
It's tough. I'll tell you that right now for sure, because especially for me, a large part of what I do comes with being at church and helping at church. And doing things at church. So, not being able to attend mass, see my friends when I'm going there. Oh, it's tough, with everybody. But a large part of that is, keeping a sense of normalcy, and then doing what you can. It's really helpful to have friends right now. I think one thing, I usually teach every single week. On Saturdays, Mondays, things like that. And one thing that's really kept me going is, still making my lesson plans to have our, online meetings now every Saturday. And so that at least gives me something to do. But even before that, I volunteer a lot, but I've always told my fellow volunteers as well as other kids, it's great. That's how I started. I probably wouldn't have been as deep in my faith if I didn't volunteer as much. But volunteering alone, giving your time alone is not enough. You kind of have to find God on your own too. Helping and being selfless is different from being a good believer, and you really have to take that time to do it on your own. And that's what's kind of testing us right now. I think you still have to kind of give God his own time that he deserves. Again, like I said, one thing that really helps is having my friends. So still what I do every single Sunday now when they're doing live stream masses is we actually have Zoom calls. And I attend and see a bunch of people attending mass with me in Zoom, and I go at 9:00 in the mornings. I don't like to wake up at 9:00 in the morning on Sundays, but, just knowing that I've got other people who are joining in with me in mass with my friends here, as well as I have friends on the East Coast in Washington State, Oregon State, Texas, that are kind of going together with me. That's really helpful. It's just having those friends.
Yeah. And I hadn't really thought about it until you brought it up, that a lot of my friends actually, like my circle of friends, during high school I was a bit of quite the social butterfly. And so I'd have friends from all different kinds of social groups. And even moving from high school into college, I'd still kind of have a good, a very, how to say, a very different spectrum of friends on different friends, a lot of friends into several different things, and now that I think about it, actually the friends who've stuck with me, who I've known, I guess now for the longest, are the ones who actually spend a lot of time with at church. And it's in a way, it actually does. What you're saying, it proves it, kind of I'm proving it within myself, because it's those friends that you share faith with, really, that I think it's the friendships where even your faith is shared that I think really last the longest. And
in both ways, I have friends from, out middle school, high school, college, different groups that I'm in. And of course, I'm very close with my church friends just because we're close. But what I also mean is there's also certain groups of friends that will help you grow. There's certain groups of friends that you're there just for a laugh and a giggle.
But
there's some that kind of help you grow as a person. I think I'm in a group chat or two with you, Carlos. Sometimes I can goof around, but sometimes it's serious.
Sure.
I've got other ones where I've got a group of friends who share faith, and sometimes we post articles or ask questions about hey, how come Jesus did this, this, and this, and how does that work? And we help each other out and figure it out and learn together. Even before this time, and it wasn't until I was older, but I had groups of friends. We would talk about that stuff, and we would actually do video calls and things like this. Even before this time, or just a group call at night, and we would, if somebody's having a hard week that time, we'd pray for them. Or we would actually do the rosary or divine mercy together a couple nights. And I'm not a guy who likes to sit there and pray nonstop. It's hard for me. It's really cool when you get a bunch of friends together and you just want to do it together. And those are kind of things that kind of help me, is having friends like that.
And I honestly think that a lot of our youth nowadays are kind of. I personally think, obviously I'll have to ask someone personally, what their opinion is, but I personally think that a lot of young people nowadays are scared to want to share their faith with their friends, because I think a lot of them are scared, as in hey, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, you feel like doing a Divine Mercy chaplet real quick? To pray with me or whatever, or do you want to, go, what is it? Go on Zoom and watch mass together? Because a lot of times it's like, oh, let's go to church, not so much for like the spiritual aspect, but let's go to church and hang out, which is totally fine. But like, I think that the binding factor there that makes the friendship relationship stronger a lot of the times, in my opinion, is like when you add in the faith. It's like a chemical reaction that is making some kind of glue, but you need that third component to make it like last forever.
Definitely know what you mean. I think it's actually gotten a little better. Like I said, youth ministry is doing so many things. I love that. I see kids come into youth ministry and I see them bring in friends from other classes or even outside of our church, outside of our faith. I love that. I think it's really cool. Back then when I was growing up, I would, I'd be like uniform, like my cousin, let me hide this, or like, hey, like John, where are you going on like Tuesday night? I'm like, not Bible study. Like for example, if your parents didn't go directly home after picking you up from TUNY and you're like at the store with your uniform, you're just kind of like, hey guys, you see someone that you might know, like, oh, hey, what's up, yeah. So even like, of course it's different for everybody, and I'm sure there's a lot of people still that way. I was like that growing up, but I see more on a level now, people posting pictures and sharing things through TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that, or just inviting each other out to events like stuff. Like I think it's really cool that it's being more socially acceptable to be at church with your friends and things like that. Of course, it's different for everybody, like you said.
That's true. That's very true. And that's really what we're trying to, at youth ministry, we're kind of trying to subvert and change that. It's okay for you to ask your friend, hey, I'm not really feeling like it'll be or it's like doing things by yourself. Just the nature of being by yourself is not very appealing. So, I think by nature our faith isn't one that we practice by ourselves, because what did we talk about? God is always with you. So therefore you're never ever really by yourself. And so why should you practice it by yourself either?
Yeah, definitely. That's the core of our church is a community. It's a group. And I think it's actually both ways, though. I think, I love having it together, but at the same time, like, you need to be able to practice it by yourself. Because, I know a lot of, people who, have a tough time going to college because they don't have any friends. I know I definitely did when I was living at college and I didn't have nobody that was going to go to church with me. It was really difficult to take that extra effort to get out there and go, or to pray by yourself and things like that. But I think a lot of the times I do go to church by myself, without family, without friends, without anybody watching, or some of the best times I've been, when you really don't think about anyone else, you just focus on yourself and God. So I think it's important to have that self faith too, and discover God on your own, but it's also important to share it, and enjoy it with other people.
I actually think some of those, I think that sharing your faith with others, that's like, what do you call it? That's really one of the best and most fun parts about, just living your faith. But I think that it's those parts where you practice your faith and you do your faith by yourself that foster the most growth. And that's why a lot of the times I like to tell my class and whatnot, or actually I'm not sure if I've told my class, but a lot of one of the quotes that I like to use a lot, when it comes to our faith, is kind of like, let's be by ourselves together,
I don't know where you get all these quotes from. I like it.
It's like, let's take a moment to be by ourselves together, let's be alone in our headspace, but in the same room or in a call. It doesn't.
It definitely comes back to, I know too. It comes back to like during this time too. it's both of those. Like now we have to practice our faith by ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of us have our parents or families helping us, but some others might not, so even being able to turn on that live stream and attend mass by yourself, out of your own will, it's kind of by yourself.
Yeah.
For those who aren't in our confirmation classes anymore, you kind of have to take some time to kind of learn more about God and discover your faith on your own without your friends and your teachers and everyone right now. But at the same time, it's nice to have that community and support. Like I said, I've got to kind of do these things by myself, but it's really, really helpful to have all those friends knowing that, I'm going to go watch mass together or do these activities together or whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's say, for example, for you, John, what's one of the things that keeps you wanting to keep growing in your faith? What's one of the things that helps you not stay stagnant? Because I think a lot of the times our young people kind of think about their faith as something not so much that, how would I say it? Not so much as something that they see it like learning or as growing. Faith is something that you practice. You go to church, you go to Tuni, you go through the levels in Tuni. Even you go through these, like, I guess, milestones or checkpoints, like receiving first communion and confirmation. But they don't see it as something that you, like a skill almost. In a way, a skill, because skill is something that you practice, you grow, and you continuously work towards making it better.
I definitely know what you mean. And for me, is just learning more about my faith and same thing with a lot of things in life, is the more you know, the more you realize, the less you know, if that kind of makes sense. Like when I'm learning about my faith, it's like I didn't learn everything I needed to learn after confirmation 2. That was just like barely, like, okay, that's like maybe like less than 2% of what I know about my faith today. Honestly, it's like it was barely the basics. And when you start to know more, you start to realize how much more there is out there to learn.
Oh, okay.
How much little that you know. And it's the same thing. It's like, and it's about not being happy with where you are, kind of, and knowing that there's more. It's the same thing as like when you start to study, like, let's say physics. There's high school level physics, and it's okay, I aced my test, I know everything about physics. You go on to major in physics in or math or whatever it is in college, it's like, okay, that was like nothing. There was like all this more. And you realize, like, even PhDs and doctors, they just specialize in one little field, and they have learned so much to know that there's so much more to discover. And I'm just learning one part of it. The more you know, the more that you understand that there's so much more to keep on learning. And that's where I am with my faith. It's just, I know that I right now, I tell my kids in my class all the time, like, I don't know anything about our faith, not even, but this is a journey that I'm continuing to grow on. And I want you guys to keep on growing with me as I learn more and you learn more too.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the things that I was telling my kids. At the beginning of the year, I always kind of give them like a bit of a rundown, like, hey, I'm a catechist here. So just by that title, a lot of the times it seems like I'm supposed to know everything. I'm supposed to be able to answer all your questions. But I'll tell you right now, I might not, be able to answer all of your questions. I might not have an answer to every one of your questions that, have regards to our faith. But one thing I can tell you is that if I don't know the answer, I will get you someone who does, or we can look for it together.
Definitely. It's like you just keep on realizing how much more there's out there, and they keep on expanding on what you already know. And part of it is too, with our faith, is the more for me personally, and that's one reason I've gotten stronger in my faith, is the more I learn about it, the more beautiful it becomes. Because there's a lot of times, you read something in the Bible and it's like, oh, that doesn't make sense, or that's stupid. Why did they do that? Or that makes zero sense. Like, well, God created the world in 7 days. There's absolutely no, that's stupid. Okay. But when you learn more about the things behind it and why we chose number 7, or that's said in the Bible, or why certain things were created, or why Jesus did certain things that he did, or why a king 5,000 years before Jesus did a certain thing that related to what Jesus did later on. It starts to blow your mind, and it's like, wow, this is so amazing. The more I learn, the more beautiful it becomes. Really, that's part of it for my faith about how you keep on learning is it's really, it's unlike anything else where you the more you know, the more it all makes sense together. And I'm still going down that path.
Okay, yeah.
Continue. Another part is just knowing, that there is so much more. Like, to compare it to, like, with my coaching, it's like how I challenge my students every single day. It's like, okay, great job, you got your best time. I'm not going to stay there and just hang out there. Let's get another best time next week. What are you going to do this week to get your next best time? How are you going to continue to grow? And then when you hit that one, it's like, okay, what's next now? Yeah, sure, great job, you won that race, but you aren't anything just winning that one race. How are you going to win league? How are you going to be the best one in league? And then with my kids, who are league champions. Okay, we're league champions. How far are we going to go in CIF now? It's it's always about getting to that next level and about pushing yourself and getting better. It's just the same with anything. It's just about constantly doing what you can every day to get better.
All right. Okay. Yeah. It's, I guess, in a way, to kind of put it in a nutshell, it's more like applying the same kind of growth mindset that you would apply to something else. You just gotta apply it now to your faith. And when you think about it, it's not too difficult, actually. Because I say it's not too difficult, but I know that definitely some people would like to disagree, and I'd probably be one of them. But I only say that it's not too difficult now because I have people in my life who help kind of keep me on track, keep me in that path, and sometimes even give me direction in that path. Because I don't mean to toot my own horn here with all these quotes that I'm saying. It's just I sometimes I spit straight fire. Like, what can I say?
Yeah, DJ Carlos, you keep it up. Keep on dropping the bars.
Yeah, sometimes I just drop knowledge and I don't even realize it. I swear I should just have someone chronicling all my, everything I say. Just like, oh man, like, look at that. This is what you said 2 years ago, and this right here, gold.
All right, what is it, Matthew? You on that? Just a shout out to our tech guy too, Matthew, who's helping us.
Yeah, definitely. I should ask Matthew to just set me up with like a 24/7 just set rig or something that'll record everything I say, and that way I could just listen to it at night and just realize how how much gold I spit.
Listen to your own podcast. Got it.
No, but sort of what I'm trying to say is that even though you don't always see the direction or path which you're taking, it doesn't always mean that you're going in the wrong direction. And I mean, a lot of our young people will take an easy road because they asked people and they got a bit more knowledge than others, because who knows, they were just blessed with it, and they realized the blessing. Some won't realize the blessing. Some won't take the easy road, and they'll take a bit of a rough one. But again, it's the whole idea of, just because you don't see the road or path you're taking, it doesn't mean that, one, God isn't there, and it doesn't mean that, two, you're going in the wrong direction. You're just taking a different road, because I mean, not all roads lead to Rome, but they all do lead to God. And it's something that,
another quote, write that down.
Dude, that's actually a new one. I just came up with it. All right, so anyone watching this and listening to this, you're witnessing history. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I think a lot of our young people can not only relate to, but may even relate to later on. Some of us listening to us now or watching us now may have already gone through that rough road. Some of them may be about to start it and they don't even know it. But regardless of that, I think that faith is something that is there with us from, obviously a lot of us, it's not there with us since the day we're born, because not everyone's born, cradle Catholic. A lot of us, it's something that kind of comes into our life. Even for some others, it's something that comes in and then goes out because they just didn't realize that it, what it was when it did come in.
No, and again, coming back to, teaching and things like that is, my parents had been in the church since I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and even I had so many hard times learning about my faith or learning to accept it or grow on it on my own, so I want to do my best to help other people. And I realize there's plenty of other people, who don't have as much, exposure, and I want to be able to help them grow as much as they can. Because and that's what it is in the end. Like I said, our faith is beautiful. God is beautiful, and I want to share that with other people. How beautiful I have found God to be. And just going through all that, and everybody's different.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I think that you and I are both people that we want to help others to see, like just how beautiful, just how fun, just how much you can take away from, getting to know more about your faith.
No, and like I said, even me, like I said, having that background, and even I've had so many struggles myself, growing up, and and it's just something to share with people.
Yeah. I mean, sharing's caring, right? All right, John. Honestly, it's been a complete pleasure to have you here in joining us in SBYMcast episode number 4, or actually, for now, we'll say it's episode number 4. If anything, we can cut this part out and say thank you for having us here at SBYMcast episode 3. It's truly been an honor to have you, and John, I just want to say thank you for everything you do, not just here with Youth Ministry on this podcast tonight. Thank you for everything you do at St. Barbara. All your years of work, which may range from 2 to who knows, 15. So I just want to thank you, for that, and personally for being a part of the road that led me here.
No, and again, my pleasure. Always fun to be out here and talk to you. Thanks for having me as part of your journey. And again, it's something that's a lot of fun to me, seeing you and everybody else. And keep it up with SBYM and everything else.
All right. Well, this has been episode 3 or episode 4, or shoot, wait, yeah. of SBYMcast. And with that, we say goodbye and good night, good morning, or good afternoon.
Peace out, everyone.